Hello, good evening, everybody. Today is April 8th, and I just came on to share some more um, words with you. So, when I started this journey, I started it because people had told me that I had a curse on me for my life. It seemed like I would only get so far, and then I would just loop around. I was on the loop, you know. Um, I didn't realize that people hated me, you know. I mean, I knew I didn't have girlfriends, and you know, you know how it goes. But I didn't understand that people actually had hate for me, and I'm talking hate as to get together and plan to do something to me, to hurt me, and not just to hurt me, but to take my abundance, to hurt my kids, to they wanted me low, and so this is what I want to talk about today. So the last 2 years or so, I've been struggling with a lot of black magic attacks. People doing black magic to stall me, to keep me confused. They would break in my home and put poison in my food, so I would get sick. And actually, the spirit tells me that um, when when I was sick and going quadriplegic, like I had explained in another video, um, that it was caused by them, you know, and them, I mean anybody who resides in the darkness, who gets lured away by the worldly things at this day and age, you know, and these next few years are going to be very important for us here in the world. And the main thought is everybody has to wake up and stand in their power. And so when we do, the more people that wake up is to who we really are is when we as a whole, as one, can change the outcome of what's going to happen in the world or with us individually. So we hear the word collective. The collective is anybody who is working towards a goal, for the better of all, for the good of all, not just themselves. Um, gets to has to experience a lot of stuff, and what I mean by stuff is, so as you start, first you have to acknowledge that you are more than what they've told you you are. Second is your life is exactly the way it is because of you and nobody else. And that means taking responsibility for your actions, for your thoughts, for your words, because like they say, our words become reality, but it's even more powerful than that. Our thoughts create our tomorrow. So if we're thinking negative and if we're doing negative towards other people, um, look up the laws of the universe, cause and effect. Everybody says karma, but it's all about what you dish out is going to come back to you. Sometimes slow, sometimes fast, sometimes not in this lifetime, sometimes in the next lifetime. But basically, we're all held accountable. Nobody gets away. Like, you think you get away with something, you go rip somebody off or whatever. No, nobody ever gets away. you know, the one of the universal laws is whatever you do is going to come back to you. So if you go out and do good, good will come to you. And I always had a problem with that because I never really um, went out to maliciously hurt anyone. Um, and I always seemed to get these people who would just want to drag me through the mud and throw me off the bus, kick me off the bus, or however you want to say it. Just like the person who stole my tooth, just for being malicious and hateful. So many things, but as I've grown, I've came to understand that it's not really about me, or it's not really about them. It's a spiritual war, and this last year we've been in heavy spiritual warfare. And if you don't know what spiritual warfare is, please find out. because once you start walking in the path that you're meant to be walking, and you have, we'll always have a calling on our life, but um, if you have a higher calling, there's going to be more attacks, more people trying to take you down. And I never realized that. I always thought it was a personal thing, so I really didn't know how to deal with all that. I just thought, well, they don't even know me. Like, that was my excuse. They don't even know me. Why do they hate me? But and actually, from hearing it so many years and so many years and so many years, I actually believed I was unworthy, and I believed I was unlovable, and I believed that I didn't deserve things because of the choices that I've made, and that's not the truth. And I want to assure you that that's not the truth. The only thing is, when we take steps away from the light, we end up seeing the darkness, and um, so the spirit tells me that it's not what happens to you. Everything that happens to you happens for you, so we could grow and evolve into a higher consciousness. And and so this is now 4 years later, and I still have something that either my body's holding, my heart, or my brain. I still don't know, and I still have not been able to crack that puzzle of what is holding me and keeping me captive. Black magic really exists, people, and people really use it for a lot of different things. There's and these curses and spells are meant to keep somebody who's in higher consciousness down. Not to mention, so as I was saying, this when you start walking on this road, all of a sudden you'll start, you know, realizing that you're broken pretty much, and it's today's society, back in my age, I'm like 56, so back in my day, divorce was already random at that time, but it wasn't like it is now, and it was still like talked about when somebody was going to get divorced or whatever. And the thing is not to get divorced. Is the thing is not to get married when you don't know the person. And you're talking to, and I'm talking about somebody who got married after 4 months of meeting my husband. We were married, and we were together 11 years. And yeah, that was a pretty topsy turvy relationship. But see, all the stuff that happens to us, the traumas, they're all trapped in our body. And I could say, even until recently, um, I've had spiritual experiences where I'm doing a ritual to release some of the pain that I was carrying around. And the lady was telling me it was going to be a ritual at the beach, so she told me to, it's all about my intention to pray before I left, and on the way to the beach, anything that came up, any person that came up, um, it was somebody that I had to reconcile with. So once I got to the beach, I had to do this little ritual thing that she told me to do for each person that I remembered. And at first I was, listening to music, not really tripping out, but then all of a sudden I saw these, like, literally, like, what do you call it? Like the VCR when it rewinds, you know, and I mean just faces of people and places and things, and um, a lot of them I recognized their face. I didn't know their name. Some of them I knew their name, but they is that so and so, But it was going so fast. It was hard for me to like even keep up. I couldn't even remember some of the incidences. So when I got to the beach, I started doing my little rituals and stuff, and it's mostly with our exes because usually it's the people closest to us who hurt us. So be mindful of that. But the thing is for us to release our trauma, and for like I mentioned before, a drug addict over 30 something years, that's how I dealt with my pain. And literally when every time they tell me to reflect, and as I reflect back on my life, I can't even believe that I was even walking around, because I've had so much pain and so much stuff comes up that even just like thinking about it, I get emotional, because it was very emotional, traumatizing stuff. And and the thing is we carry on these traumas because they're trapped in our bodies. That's how people end up getting sick and ill, because you have, like I said, my psychiatrist used to say, it's like you're dragging a red wagon through life, and every time something goes wrong, you just throw it in the wagon, and you keep throwing it in the wagon. Well, pretty soon that wagon's too heavy, and you can't pull it anymore. And that's basically what happens when we become ill. So the traumas, the hurts, the pains, whatever you want to call it, they stay trapped in our bodies if we don't deal with the emotional side. For many years, my mom, as a kid, she used to tell me, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry," because I was always getting in trouble. I was always getting in trouble, and you know, uh, dealt with, I guess. And so she would tell me, like, "What do you get from crying? Nothing comes out of crying, nothing at all. So just deal with it and get over it." And for I think like probably like about my fifth program, where I was able to shed a tear. And even after once I started, it was like, you know, one cry, and I would cry for a bit. And I always mention the times where I was in programs, because in programs, when you first start getting sober, all this stuff starts hitting you. Stuff that you threw in your wagon starts hitting you, and so you have all these emotions and stuff going on. So that it's a great time to learn about yourself, learn about how you react. In this one program, they used to tell us every morning we would have to do a feelings check. And so we had pages of emojis. And we would have to pick, I think, 3 emojis. And we'd have to pick them, and then we'd have to explain why we felt that way. And that was the first time I ever thought about the way I felt. It, it, it my awareness to how I felt and why I felt that sort of kind of opened like another door for me. And it still does to this day, and especially on my journey now, because that's what Spirit says. You get triggered, just like a drug addict or food addict, whatever. Something will trigger you where you'll want to reach out to numb, and instead of reaching out to the numb, you just let the feelings come. And as the feelings come, you you cry, scream, yell, whatever you need to do, and just to get the emotions out. Because if you don't get the emotions out, that's how people end up with cancer and like my stuff, spinal stenosis, and other diseases that our body is meant to heal from. So I just wanted to bring an awareness to the black magic thing. And next time I think we're going to talk about gang stalking, because a lot of people don't believe that it exists, but trust me. And a lot of people, I know a lot of women and even men know that it does exist. People who get in these groups, people actually plan this. This is actually like a hustle for them. They gang stalk, they find out, information on somebody, and pretty soon they're, breaking in their homes, not to steal stuff, but to go after the information that they went for, so they could get a come up. What surprised me is how many people get involved. I had my whole apartment complex where I lived before, literally posted outside all night long to make sure that nobody would go visit me, or they messed with my cable, they messed with my phone, and I still deal with that now. I'm not lying, I still deal with that now. I just went and changed the lock again, because I come home and the doorknob will just be hanging off my door. From where they broke in, they've been stealing my poems, my work, I've been trying to write a book, and I think I've you know, I've had a good chunk written already, and I go into like look for it, and it's gone. My poems of I say about 25, 30 years gone. You know, I made copies and I hid the copy somewhere else. Those are gone. You know, they actually literally go into stuff that I have stored, stuff that I don't even use, but they'll go into it. You know, and mostly they come in to to drug me. You know, and God forgive me because every time I had leftovers for almost like the last year, I throw everything away. So I keep it super minimal. But sometimes it's hard just to cook a little bit small because you know what you're cooking or whatever. And I always end up throwing food away if I try to give it away to somebody and nobody's around or whatever. And so and they do that so they can come in and almost like a strong arm robbery, but you're there in the home asleep. You know, and there's way much more that goes on than that. Um, and that's something that we need to talk about. You know, so I'll end it for now. I hope you guys have a great day. Um, Thank you for coming and watching my videos. Please give it a thumbs up and share the video. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.